I'm retired now, but I'm retired from the game, but I thought may as well just put some of my opinions out there. I want to talk about today what you should do if you're trying to pick up a woman who's much younger than you. Now, probably the worst thing, some guys, you naturally say she's like 25, say she's like 20 and you're 30 or something like that, or say you're 35, she's 25, she's whatever it is. The worst thing you can do is lie about your age. That's the worst thing. That's such a short-sighted, because they can tell, if they find out, it's going to seem like you cared too much about what they thought. It's going to be a massive turn-off for the woman. There was a guy, I remember one time when I used to go out to the nightclubs, there was a guy who used to teach this course. He used to train other people, and he was 50, and he was giving guys. He was running some seminar. In his video. He was saying you've got your perceived age and your real age, and she was saying, so when you ask a woman, when they ask how old are you, a woman asks how old are you, then that's, you don't just have to volunteer your age. You can say, guess, how old do you think I am? And so say if a woman is saying to him, oh, I think you're 38, then he would say, now that's your perceived age. They think you're 38, so that's the age you can tell women. You can get away with telling women you're 38 now. And that is the biggest load of crap I've ever heard. They're just being nice. They're always going to guess 5 years younger, most of the time, unless they don't give a shit. If they're guessing younger as well, it's a good sign that they're being nice to you. They potentially are interested, or they're just nice people. They may not be interested, but they're just being polite. They're just some women are just going to go, not going to give a shit, and they're going to say how old you really look. Anyway, that was his idea. Was he'd say, oh, so that's my perceived age, so I'm going to start telling women I'm 38. You absolute moron. If you start telling women, if I said to women, oh, and they say, oh, I look like I'm in early 30s, and I start telling women, they're going to think, fuck, he looks a bit rough. Because they were guessing 5 years or even 10 years younger than what you actually look. And if you say, yeah, I'm actually 37, and you're 50, they're going to be like, fucking hell, this guy's full of shit. Or, geez, he's not in good shape. Either way, it's going to be a turn off. And the thing with that is, so my strategy is, if a woman, for example, when I was 30 and a 20-year-old was like, say, how old are you? I'd say I'm 42. And then what would happen is, they'd say, oh, no, you're not, how old? So exaggerate way older. And the good thing about that is that it shows you don't care what they think. You're not trying to impress them and going to lie and say, oh yeah, trying to pretend that you're younger than you are. It sort of shows it's good, because it shows you don't give a shit what they think. And so you're not trying to impress them and worried about what they think. So that's the first thing you need to do is just exaggerate in the opposite direction to what you think. So, oh, have you got kids? So yeah, I've got 10 of them, That was one thing when I was always worried about, and don't get me wrong, I have to get this right the first time. Like, it was one of the things where I was really defensive when a woman asked if I've got a kid. And then turns out that I've got some kid that, I'm not even involved with, and I'm not even paying child support. It's not a topic I want to be brought up, So, but I was always, when I first found out and I was getting my head around it myself, I was always on the defensive going, yeah, I sort of do, and it was just awkward. It's not about whether you've got a kid or not. There are going to be a very small minority. There's going to be a women who just have a rule, that, oh yeah, I just don't date guys with kids. So they're going to strike you off straight away. But your only chance is to own it, and the way you deal with it, your age, so something that's perceived as a potential weakness with the sort of woman you want to attract. If you've got kids, you're worried about what they think. If you act weird about it, that's the turn off. That's the problem. It's not the fact that you're older necessarily. And I'm not saying it's guaranteed you're going to get laid, if you go, I'm 52 and they're going to start sucking your dick or anything like that. But it gives you the best chance to it gives you the best opportunity. You know, this is about, there's no guarantees, you know, but the point is you got to have as good a game as possible to put the odds in your favour. You know, the worst thing you can do, some guys go, it's a numbers game, and, you know, I just send a dick pic to bloody 10 women and one of them's going to want to, you know, have me over to their place. What an absolute load of shit. That's just dumb game. That's just dumb. I can tell you the one who's going to do it, and it's not going to be the one that's going to get you hard either. So, I mean, do you want to have good, you know, do you want to get with women who you're actually attracted to, who are your type, or do you just want to get laid? I mean, you know, whatever you want to do. But anyway, so the thing about, if you lie about your age and say that you're younger than you are because you're worried about what they think, that's going to be a massive turn off. They're going to be able to tell. Women have good intuition. They can tell when you're bullshitting them, when you're worried about what they think of you. They can. The best thing to do is go the other way, show that you don't give a shit. And the other thing, so I used to say I was 42, and then they'd always say, so make it way older than it could be, so that they have to go, no, really? God, you look good for foot. No, you are not. Okay, I'm 30. And then the other thing is, what used to usually happen is, say you go from 42 back to 30, and they'd say, oh, that's not too bad. Suddenly 30, because they're going, oh shit, he's 42, that's really up. Suddenly 30 is like not seeming too bad. Whereas if you just said 30 straight away, they'd be like, oh, you're 10 years older, you know? Or you've been like, oh, if you're weird about it and go, okay, I'm 25. No, okay, I'm 26. Okay, now I'm 30. And then it just seems getting worse. It just gets worse. You don't want to do that. Then they're going to be like, yeah, I'm not interested. So this whole perceived age bullshit, you know, trying to get away with, that's absolute load of shit. You should be honest. You know, don't lie about your age. You know, exaggerate as a bit of a teasing tactic. If you don't want to tell her you're 42, if you don't want to reveal your real age and you want to keep telling you you're 60 or something like that, that's, you know, that's fine as well, I guess. I mean, it's not a bad, you know. The other thing is, as well, say if they do say, oh, you're so old, oh, you're too old for me, or, oh, I don't date guys with kids, that's a test as well. How you react to that is going to determine whether, you know, if you react really, and you're like, just water off a duck's back. Some guys think if you go, oh, well, then you're not a great woman, and you get to, I put her in her place. Say a guy's like, oh, you know, like with kids, oh, well, you're so shallow, that's, you know, you should give guy, you know, that just reflects poorly on you. And you start arguing with her, that's not good. You're not being an alpha male by saying, oh, well, I wouldn't want to date you anyway, you know, someone who's not into kids. That's defensive. You know, just act like you don't give a shit. Because the fact that you're getting defensive shows that you care about picking her up. You're too desperate to get her. If you're like, oh, well, that's a bloody relief, you know? You know, oh, yeah, fair enough. And you just move on. If she's like, oh, I don't date guys with the kids, I'm like, fair enough, and just move on. And don't react to it. Then, and you start talking to her friends, or you start saying something about her. Anyway, you seem like, you know, but apart from that, you seem nice, and start talking about her. You know, you don't want to be caught in a situation, you know, girls are going to be drilling you, asking questions because they want to test you out, to see how you react, to see if you're suitable for them, if you're going to put up, you know, subconsciously or consciously, whether you're going to, some of them know they're doing this, some of them don't know they're doing it. They just have it instinctively. But don't let them dominate the conversation by asking you, and how many kids, and you do it, it's like, hey, hang on. You're like, and playfully do it. Playfully, you ask a lot of questions. Why? I never agreed to this interview. Like, what's the deal? Are you always like this? Or you know, tease her back and make it about her. Hang on, it's my turn to ask a question. And make it playful, not defensive, like, well, I don't like this, you know, that's not cool. You're not an alpha male if you get defensive and you taught her a lesson. We're not trying to teach women a lesson. We're trying to date women here. You know, we're trying to meet women and get opportunities, because you can say, oh, well, she's the one, I'm testing her out and she wasn't good enough for me. That is so total bullshit. When guys say, well, I wouldn't have wanted her anyway, I disqualified her. No, you didn't. You wanted her and it was so obvious. Don't pretend. You know, we all know that women have the power. We're the ones chasing them. And you can't pretend, oh, well, she's the one, I decided I didn't want her. Mate, you didn't even have the option. So don't do that bullshit. Don't say, yeah, no, she wasn't good enough for me because she's not into kids. It's like, mate, don't be ridiculous. We all know that you would have, slept with her if you could. We're not saying you want a relationship with her, but we all know you wanted to sleep with her, and you wouldn't have had a chance anyway. The only time you're rejecting a woman is if you're in bed and she's like, put it in, and you're like, no, you don't like kids. Then you're rejecting a woman. Or, but not until then. It's not happening, mate. I love it when guys say, yeah, I could have slept with her and I just decided not to, mate. There's no point saying you could have done this. You either did or you didn't, mate.